Hi, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk. First of all, let me apologise for my voice. Unfortunately, I'm currently suffering from laryngitis. If you notice any stops in the video, it's probably because I've had a coughing fit. But moving on, here I have the Acer Liquid, or the Acer A1. Just going to do a quick unboxing for you. This will just be an unboxing video. I will actually have a video of the OS in another video, but as I say, this will just be the unboxing for now. So the handset itself is presented immediately on top, as you can see there, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. Also in the box, and it comes out like so. We have the manual, or the quick guide, which is in a variety of languages, and the English portion is just that bit at the front, so quite lightweight reading there. We have the Acer warranty, and then we have a user manual on CD-ROM, a screen protector, which is pretty much essential. On this side we have a wired headset, which is does come with a couple of foam ear covers. Is a 3.5mm headphone jack, 4-pole, has a length of cable with an inline microphone and a push button. There's no volume control there though. And then the headphones themselves, which don't look too bad. I have seen worse, but I've also seen better. We'll comment on how good they are. But if you don't want to use a headset, if you purely want to use headphones, it does mean that you can use your own higher quality headphones if you wish to do so. We then have a USB to mini USB sync charge cable. And it's interesting that that's mini, because most devices seem to be going the micro USB route at the moment, but that is mini. We then have a mains charger, which again has a mini USB connector on it, and a UK 3-pin plug. And finally, two last items, we have the battery, which is quite large, and it is a 1350 milliamp hour battery. And we do also have a SanDisk micro SD memory card. That's a 2 gig memory card, and it does come with the SD adapter, so you can plug it into a normal SD memory card slot, so that's quite cool. So let's take a look at the handset itself, and I'm going to just peel off the protective film on the front so we can really see it. So the Acer Liquid is one of the first Android handsets to actually have the widescreen display, which is 480 by 800 pixels, or WVGA. Most of the Android handsets are half VGA, so this one is the widescreen version. Say first handset to have that. Quite a nice design overall. I'm quite impressed with it. I like the white, and with obviously the black screen on the front and the black accents on the bottom and the top. I think that's pretty cool with the silver buttons. Below that we do have a touch sensitive button area. So we have menu buttons, search buttons, and a back button. They are just touch sensitive, they aren't physical buttons, so they're not tactile. On the left hand side we have the power button, that's exclusively on that side. On the bottom we have the cover over the mini USB sync charge connector, and there's a tiny hole which is the microphone. We also have a dedicated camera button and an up and down volume control rocker. And on the top of the handset we do have 3.5mm headphone connector, and that really is all on the top. On the back we have a 5 megapixel autofocus camera. Sadly though, there is no flash, and also no mirror for taking your self-portraits, but at least it is a 5 megapixel camera. And then next to that we have a fairly large grille, which is actually a loudspeaker. The back cover then just pops open like so, fairly easy. Micro SD card goes in here, and your SIM card here. Obviously the large cavity there is to accept the battery, which pops in like so, and then the back cover just clips in place like that. Let me just power up, and while we're just waiting for that to turn on, let me run down the rest of the specification. And I've already mentioned the display, but as I say, it's a 3.5 inch diagonal, 480 by 800 pixels, which is WVGA. As I say, one of the first, in fact the first Android handset to have that WVGA display. Obviously more are going to follow, I'm sure. We do have a Snapdragon processor, but it's not the 1 GHz version, it's actually 768 MHz. Still pretty fast, and I'm sure that works quite well. Comment on that when we actually come to do the full testing review. 256 meg of RAM and 512 meg of ROM. And obviously we have the Android OS pre-installed. Weighs only 135 grams, which actually is does feel fairly lightweight. I think it's to do with the styling, and you know, it isn't a particularly heavy handset. 115 millimeters from top to bottom, 62.5 millimeters wide. It's a little thicker than I would have anticipated. It's 12.5 millimeters thick. I expected it to be more like the HD2, which I'll just bring next to that, to give you a comparison. Obviously the HD2 got that much larger display, but I expected them to be more similar in terms of size and thickness, but the HD2 is that bit thinner. Obviously the HD2 here is a dummy model. Okay, and it's just starting up here. Just mention that it is quad band for GSM and tri-band for HSDPA and 3G. So it's pretty much going to work no matter where you take it throughout the world when you're roaming and everything else. So that's quite cool. It does support carrier switch data, GPRS, Edge, UMTS, HSDPA, and unusually HSUPA. Vibrating alert, as you probably would expect. USB 2.0 compliant connector on the bottom. Do have built-in GPS, which is an AGPS chipset. Also have Bluetooth 2 with EDR support, and finally Wi-Fi supporting 802.11b and G. So let's just have a very quick look at the display. So I'm going to do a full video of the OS for you at a later date, and when my voice improves. So let's set up for English. It's telling me that I have no SIM card. I don't care. And touch the Android to begin. I'm going to skip the setup, and I don't have a Google account, so I'm going to skip my Google account, skip the next. Touchscreen is extremely sensitive. I can't tell from the specification I've been given by Acer whether or not it is capacitive or resistive, but I'm certainly assuming that it's capacitive because the touch is very, very sensitive. Not working with the tap of the fingernail, so clearly it has to be capacitive. So we have obviously our main display, which is very typical for an Android handset, with a clock at the top, a series of icons underneath. So we have Acer settings, Google Maps, YouTube, Google Market, dialer, contacts, messaging and browser. If we tap the bit at the bottom, slide up the part at the bottom, actually bring up the full menu with the registration, Acer Sync, camcorder, gallery, Gmail, Google Maps, Google Talk, and we can actually scroll through this list. We have an awful lot of stuff that's pre-installed, which is quite cool. The display does seem to be very good, very clear. The colours are extremely, well saturated. It's on par with the AMO LED displays, but it's not as a transflective TFT. But it's certainly on par, even in this environment I am in at the moment, which is obviously quite bright and well lit. Obviously there is some reflection, clearly, but the display is still quite visible. And I can see it easily, and even on the camera I'm sure you can pick that out. That does look quite good. Buttons on the bottom, so let's just get rid of that. Buttons on the bottom, let's see what they do. They do illuminate when you tap them. So one is for search, so this quick search box comes up at the top. Presumably that one there is actually a home button. There is a back button there as well, and a menu button. It brings up the full menu at the bottom, so we can go to the settings menu, for example. Interestingly has rotated there, so we do have a built-in G sensor, and we can change our wireless controls, call settings, displays, and we can scroll through this list. But interestingly, when I'm actually rotating the display, I don't know if you can see that there, but when I rotate it, as it rotates, it turns the backlight on and off. So whether or not that's something to do with the actual firmware that's making it do that, if it's deliberate or accidental, not sure, but I guess that might be kind of annoying actually, this turning the backlight on and off, but still we can skip out there. And as I say, we'll do a bit more of a tour of the OS and some of the applications that are on the Acer Liquid at a later stage, as I say, perhaps when my voice improves. Let me thank Clove Technology for actually sending over our review unit. These are in stock at Clove, so if you want to pick one of these up, head over to clove.co.uk to have them in stock at the moment. And I think they are selling rather rapidly, so go and check that out. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are Tracy and Matt on Twitter, and we have a Facebook fan page, which is tracyandmatt.co.uk. If you've missed any of those details, just check out the actual intro title for this video that has our URL and our Twitter address if you want to follow us. definitely worth following us and checking us out on Twitter at the moment, because we are running a pretty big competition in the run up to Christmas, so it's definitely worth having a look at. So we'll have a full review of the Acer Liquid or Acer A1 over the next couple of weeks, and you can find that on traceymat.co.uk also.